You're here because, well, you want to get smart fast. You want to cut through all the noise and really grasp what makes things work, right? Today, we're tackling something that sounds almost deceptively simple.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it's the secret sauce behind almost every big win.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency.
Yeah.
We're going to really explore why showing up day after day, even in small ways, is just so incredibly powerful, especially for goals like, say, mastering English.
Which is a big one for many people.
Exactly. But really, this applies to pretty much anything you're trying to achieve.
We've been digging into a really insightful discussion from the Master American English podcast, and it really breaks down this whole idea beautifully. Got us thinking.
It really did. So our mission today isn't just to say, hey, be consistent.
Right. Too simple.
We want to get under the hood. Why does it actually work? How does it, change things for us?
That's the mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll look at practical steps, concrete things you can do, and also how to handle those times, and we all have them, when you just don't feel like it.
And the motivation dip.
Totally. We're aiming for those aha moments, that real understanding that sticks, but without, drowning you in information.
Keeping it actionable.
Okay, so let's kick things off. Basics first. When we talk about consistency, what are we actually talking about?
Well, fundamentally, consistency is it's about sustained effort. It's doing something repeatedly over a period of time.
Okay.
And the key thing isn't perfection. It's not about acing it every single time.
Right.
It's about showing up regularly, even when you're tired or maybe you're not seeing results right away. It's sticking with the process.
Sticking with it. Okay. The source we looked at had some great everyday examples, like learning English.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You listen to one podcast, maybe it helps a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
But compare that to making it a habit. Just 15, 20 minutes every day. What happens then?
Well, over weeks, over months,
Mm-hmm.
your understanding gets sharper, right?
Yeah.
Vocabulary starts to sink in. It's this gradual but really noticeable transformation.
Yeah, gradual but undeniable.
And think about fitness, too. You do one massive killer workout.
You're just sore the next day.
Exactly.
Huh.
But doing, say, 10 push-ups every single day,
Mm.
that's what actually builds strength over time. It's that smaller, consistent effort compounding.
Totally makes sense. Or like studying for a big test, cramming the night before.
We've all done it.
Yeah. Might get you through, maybe. But those regular, smaller study sessions, that's how you actually understand and remember the material. You give your brain time to process.
Right. The source also used this really nice analogy of the drop of water.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
One single drop falling into a glass each day seems like nothing, right?
Insignificant.
But eventually, that glass gets full.
Oh.
It's such a clear picture of how small, consistent actions pile up into something really substantial.
Accumulation.
And it's not just the external result. Psychologically, those little consistent wins build up your belief in yourself, your self-efficacy. You start seeing yourself as someone who does the thing, not just someone trying to.
That's a powerful shift in identity. Okay, so we've got a grip on what consistency is. But why is it so vital? Let's dig into the importance.
Well, think about it. Almost anything worthwhile takes time, doesn't it?
Absolutely. No overnight successes usually.
Right. And consistency is basically the engine that keeps you moving forward over that long haul. Without it, you just stall. Progress stops.
The source really hammered home how consistency builds strong habits. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. So when you do something repeatedly, you're literally training your brain. You're reinforcing certain neural pathways.
Like carving a path.
Exactly like that. And the more you use that path, the easier it gets to travel. The action becomes more automatic. It shifts from needing conscious effort and willpower every time,
Which is exhausting.
to becoming more of an ingrained routine, less mental energy required.
Okay, so it paves that mental road. What about mindset? How does consistency shape our focus, our resilience?
It really builds both focus and patience. When you commit to regular action, you naturally become less distracted by shiny new things or, discouraged by slow starts.
Because you trust the process more.
Yes. Every time you follow through, every small step forward, it reinforces your belief that you can do it. You see the proof in your actions, and that builds this really solid self-trust.
Interesting. So it's internal too, not just about the external result. It builds inner confidence. The source also mentioned consistency reducing stress.
Yeah.
How does that work? Seems counterintuitive, maybe.
Well, think about it. When a task becomes part of your normal routine through consistency, it takes up less brain space. You're not constantly wrestling with the decision, should I do it now, later? It just becomes part of the day's flow.
Less decision fatigue.
Exactly. And that reduces the stress of procrastination or feeling overwhelmed. Plus, the momentum you build, that feeling of making progress, even small progress, that itself is a stress reliever, gives you a sense of control.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a positive feedback loop then. Consistent action, small wins, more confidence, less stress, which makes consistency easier.
You got it. That's the cycle.
All right, let's talk about the power of consistency. We know it adds up, but what really gives these small daily actions their punch in the long run?
It really comes down to the principle of compounding, like compound interest in finance.
Okay.
Those small, seemingly tiny daily actions build on each other. The effect isn't just additive, it becomes exponential over time.
Yeah, the source had that great example, learning just 10 new English words a day.
Right, on any single day, 10 words. It feels like, meh, what's that?
Barely anything.
But do that every day. That's 70 words in a week.
Okay.
About 300 in a month. And like the source pointed out, over 1,800 words in just 6 months.
Wow, okay, that's significant vocabulary growth.
From just 10 words a day. And that really highlights why so many people quit too early, doesn't it?
Yeah, we want that instant breakthrough.
We're looking for the big leap, the dramatic overnight change. And when we don't see it immediately, we underestimate the incredible power of just chipping away at it consistently.
That desire for instant gratification really trips us up.
It does. But the truth is, almost all significant success is built on those small, steady steps. And consistency is what turns those steps into habits that last.
And habits, well, they're what keep us going when motivation fades.
Oh, absolutely. Motivation is, as the source put it so well, like the weather.
Unpredictable.
Totally unpredictable. Some days it's sunny, other days it's stormy. You can't rely on it. But consistency, that's your foundation. That's what lets you take action, regardless of how motivated you feel on any given day.
It's like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up thrilled to do it every morning.
Hopefully not.
But you just do it. It's automatic, non-negotiable.
Exactly. And that's the goal, to make those key actions towards your goals feel just as automatic. Like that story the source shared about the person who got really good at English just by listening to podcasts for 10 minutes a day.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Just 10 minutes. It shows how that small, regular effort can overcome that feeling of, oh, this isn't enough time. It won't make a difference.
It really does make a difference. So the takeaway here is huge. Consistency often trumps motivation. Small actions done regularly lead to big results. Start now, keep going tomorrow.
Precisely. So now let's shift to the concrete benefits. What do you actually get from being consistent? It's not just abstract.
Right, the payoffs. The source talked a lot about skill improvement. Makes sense.
Yeah, whether it's English, playing an instrument, coding, whatever. Regular practice, even short bursts, leads to steady improvement. You just get better.
And you start to notice it, which feels good.
Definitely. And that progress fuels your motivation to keep going. Think about speaking English. Maybe you start out shy, hesitant.
Yeah, afraid to make mistakes.
But practicing every day, even just saying a few phrases out loud, your confidence starts to grow, your pronunciation gets better, you become more fluent. That consistent effort breaks down the fear.
And beyond the specific skill, consistency builds broader qualities like discipline.
Oh, for sure. Every time you choose to stick to your plan, even when you don't feel like it, you're strengthening that muscle of self-discipline. You get better at managing your time, staying focused, pushing through discomfort, and that discipline helps you everywhere in life, not just with that one goal.
And the confidence boost must be pretty significant too, following through consistently.
Huge. When you repeatedly take action and see results, even small ones, you build trust in yourself. You prove to yourself you can do what you set out to do.
Yeah.
That leads to a more positive self-view, makes you more willing to try new things, take on other challenges.
The source also connected this to just like general well-being, healthier habits, relationships.
Yes. Those small, consistent choices really matter there too. Think about exercise. A 15-minute walk every day is way better long-term than one intense gym session every few weeks.
Right. The consistency wins.
Same with relationships. It's not the grand gestures usually. It's the consistent small acts of kindness, listening, being present. That's what builds strong connections.
Makes sense. And bringing it back to English, those daily habits, listening a bit, writing a sentence, speaking out loud, those are the bricks that build fluency.
Absolutely. So summing up the benefits, you get better skills, you make real progress, you build discipline, you gain confidence, and overall, your life just gets better.
Okay, powerful stuff. We get the why, we get the what. Now the big question, how? How do we actually do this? How do we become more consistent? Give us the practical tips.
All right, let's get tactical. The source had some really good down-to-earth advice. And number one, maybe the most important, start small.
Don't try to boil the ocean on day one.
Exactly. Forget the heroic 2-hour study sessions right off the bat.
Yeah.
Aim for just 5 or 10 minutes a day. Seriously.
That feels doable.
It's designed to feel doable. The goal is to make it so easy you almost can't say no. You could even link it to something you already do, like listening to a quick English podcast while you brush your teeth or wait for the kettle.
Habit stacking.
Precisely. Once that tiny habit feels locked in, then you can think about gradually increasing the time. But start easy.
Okay, start small. What else?
Make a plan. Don't just vaguely hope you'll do it. Create a simple schedule for your week.
Like Monday, listening practice, Tuesday, writing.
Something like that. It gives you structure, focus, and checking things off feels good. It reinforces the habit, gives you that little dopamine hit.
A roadmap. Got it.
Also, try to pick the same time each day, if you can.
Why is that important?
It helps automate the habit. Linking it to an existing routine, say right after breakfast or just before bed, makes it part of your natural rhythm. Your brain starts expecting it.
Weaving it into the day. Okay, but what about life? Distractions, they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah. So remove distractions. This is key. Find a quiet spot if possible. Turn off your phone notifications. Close irrelevant tabs. Even 10 minutes of truly focused effort is way better than 30 minutes of constantly being interrupted.
Quality over quantity for focus time.
Definitely. And track your progress.
How does that help?
Seeing is believing. Use a notebook, a calendar, an app, whatever works for you. Mark off each day you complete your task. Seeing that chain of X's grow is really motivating.
The visual proof.
And importantly, if you miss a day, but you will miss days, don't beat yourself up. Just start again the next day. Focus on the overall pattern, not perfection.
Right. Don't let one slip derail everything.
And speaking of feeling good, reward yourself.
Ooh, I like this one.
When you hit a milestone, like a week of consistency, treat yourself to something enjoyable, a movie, a nice coffee, whatever. It reinforces the positive connection.
Makes the process more fun. What about involving other people?
Good point. Find a partner or a group. Sharing your journey, your progress, your struggles. It adds accountability and support. Online groups, a language exchange partner, it helps you feel less alone.
Yeah, shared struggle, shared success.
Yeah.
And lastly,
the source emphasized this, and it's crucial. Be kind to yourself.
Easier said than done sometimes.
I know. But setbacks are totally normal. Everyone faces them. Avoid that harsh inner critic. Just acknowledge it happened and focus on restarting tomorrow. Slow progress is still progress. It's way better than stopping altogether.
Great advice. So it's really about these small, smart strategies, not some massive willpower battle. Okay, but let's be real. Challenges will come up. What are the common roadblocks and how do we navigate them?
Yeah, the source acknowledged this head on. Things like boredom, just feeling tired, distractions, they're pretty much guaranteed to pop up.
Okay, let's take boredom. That consistent routine can sometimes feel, well, boring.
It definitely can. The solution. Mix things up. Introduce variety within your consistent framework. If you're learning English, don't listen to the exact same podcast every single day.
Right.
Find new ones. Watch videos on different topics you like. Try reading different kinds of articles. Find a new person to chat with. Keep it fresh.
Keep the spark alive within the routine. Okay. What about tiredness? Some days you're just wiped out.
Yeah, and you absolutely need to listen to your body. Don't push yourself into burnout, but try to still do something, even if it's tiny. Maybe just 5 minutes of passive listening while you rest. Or review just a couple of flashcards. The idea is to maintain the thread of the habit, even on low energy days. Some engagement is better than zero engagement for keeping the consistency alive.
Keep the chain from breaking entirely, even if it's a weak link that day.
Got it.
And distractions. We mentioned minimizing them, but they still creep in.
They do. So it's about reinforcing that need for a dedicated space and time. Really guarding that focus bubble, even if it's short. Turning off the phone, closing tabs, being intentional about protecting that concentration.
Constant vigilance against the distraction monster.
Okay.
Now the big one. That feeling of wanting to give up when progress feels painfully slow or just feels too hard.
Yes. That's a critical moment. When that feeling hits, the most important thing is to remind yourself why you started.
Reconnect with the motivation.
Exactly. What was your original goal? Why does it matter to you? Write it down, look at it often. Visualizing that end goal, remembering your reasons that can be the fuel you need to push through the dip.
Your anchor. What else can help fight that urge to quit?
Make the task feel easy again. Maybe scale back temporarily to that super small, manageable action. Just focus on getting that tiny win for the day.
Lower the barrier.
Yes. And celebrate the effort, not just the results. Acknowledge that you showed up, you tried. Be proud of that consistency itself, even if fluency feels far away. Shift focus from the gap to the steps you are taking.
Acknowledge the journey.
Definitely. And talk to someone. Share your frustration with a friend, a teacher, an online group. Hearing, yeah, I feel that way too sometimes, can make a huge difference. You're not alone.
Community support.
And finally, the most important thing when you stumble, don't be afraid to start again. Seriously. Missing a day or even a week doesn't mean failure. It's normal. Just start again tomorrow. See setbacks as detours, not dead ends.
Resilience is key. Okay, let's circle back and really cement how to build consistency. Some of these points are worth hitting again.
Yeah, repetition helps build understanding too, right? And remember, it's about regular action, not perfect action, especially when forming that new English learning habit.
And that start small idea just keeps resonating.
It's foundational. Starting with just 5 minutes makes it so much less intimidating, so much more likely you'll actually do it. Then you build from there. Gradual increase.
And making it a routine, linking it to something else you do daily.
That automaticity is gold. It takes the decision-making out of it over time. It just becomes what you do after breakfast or whatever your anchor is.
And tracking progress, seeing those X's on the calendar.
That visual feedback is incredibly motivating for many people. It makes your effort tangible. You see the proof you're sticking with it.
And rewarding yourself. Can't forget the rewards.
Those little celebrations reinforce the positive behavior. A small treat after a week of consistent effort makes your brain go, hey, this consistency thing is pretty good.
And the source really pushed for practicing every single day, even if it's brief.
Daily engagement keeps the momentum going. It keeps the information fresh in your mind. Keep those neural pathways active. Even 10 focus minutes daily is often better than one long session weekly.
And that don't break the chain idea. Explain that again. It sounds simple but effective.
It really is. Get a big wall calendar. Every day you do your planned activity, say 15 minutes of English practice, you put a big X on that day. Your only job then is to not break the chain. As the chain of X's gets longer, a week, 2 weeks, a month, you become more and more motivated to keep it going.
You don't want to see that gap.
Exactly. And if you do miss a day, no big deal. You just start a new chain the next day. It's a fantastic visual motivator for consistency.
Love that. Very practical. Now, you mentioned the source shared a real-life story about Omar.
Yes, Omar's story is such a great illustration of all this. He really wanted to learn English, but felt completely overwhelmed.
Didn't know where to start.
Right. So he decided on something super small. Listen to English podcasts for just 5 minutes every single day. That's it.
Just 5 minutes. Must have seemed like nothing.
Probably. But he committed to it. Listened on his commute while doing dishes. No pressure to understand everything, just consistent exposure for 5 minutes.
And what happened?
Well, naturally, over time, 5 minutes started to feel easy. So it became 10 minutes. Then 15. He started looking up words he heard, maybe repeating phrases.
It grew organically.
Exactly. A few months later, he was doing 30 minutes a day, pretty comfortably. And it felt normal because he'd built up to it gradually.
That's fantastic. So the small start really did snowball.
It absolutely did.
Yeah.
And the key takeaway from Omar is that his success wasn't about amazing talent or some superhuman effort. It was purely down to that initial, unwavering consistency with a small task.
He just kept showing up for those 5 minutes.
He did. And eventually it led to fluency, confidence, even helped his career. It just shows you don't need giant leaps. Small, consistent steps get you there.
Such a good reminder for anyone feeling overwhelmed by a big goal. Okay, the source also had some specific tips aimed directly at English learners trying to be consistent.
Yes, some focused advice. Warren was aiming for about 15 to 30 minutes of quality practice daily. Emphasis on quality.
Not just clock watching.
Right. Think of it like watering a plant. You need to do it consistently for it to grow. Little and often.
And it suggested simple daily habits.
Yeah, things you can easily weave into your day, like listening to podcasts while doing chores. Multitasking works well here. Or writing just one simple English sentence in a journal each day.
One sentence. That's very doable.
Or even just talking to yourself in English for a few minutes, describing what you're doing. It sounds silly, maybe, but it works when done consistently.
Getting your mouth used to forming the words. What about mistakes? That's a big fear for language learners.
Huge one. The source stressed that making mistakes is absolutely normal and, in fact, necessary. It's part of learning.
Like a baby learning to walk.
Perfect analogy. They fall down constantly, but they get back up. Each mistake is data. It's feedback. Having a positive attitude towards errors is crucial for staying consistent. Don't let fear of mistakes stop you from practicing.
Reframe mistakes as learning opportunities and comparing yourself to others.
Oh, definitely advised against that. Everyone learns differently at their own pace. Your journey is unique. Focus on your progress, your small wins, not on how fast someone else seems to be learning.
Run your own race.
Exactly. So for English learners, practice a bit daily, use simple habits, work it into your life, embrace mistakes, and focus on your own path.
Great summary. And finally, the source really highlighted patience and the long view.
So important, because results, especially in language learning, often take time. You won't suddenly become fluent overnight.
It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see quick changes.
That's why you need that long-term perspective. Remember the seed analogy you planted, you water it consistently, but you don't see the growth every single day. But it is happening under the surface. Trust the process.
Trust the watering. Trust the consistency.
And again, remember your journey is yours alone. Avoid that comparison trap. Society pushes instant results, but language learning just doesn't work that way. It needs time, it needs patience.
So when you feel down, when you feel stuck,
Go back to your why. Why did you want to learn English in the first place? Connect with that initial motivation. Let it fuel your persistence through the tough spots.
use your why as your compass.
Exactly. The challenge is not as stop signs, but as opportunities to strengthen your resolve, to deepen your learning. Those consistent small steps over the long haul, they really do lead to amazing places.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. The core message seems incredibly clear. Consistency, really, it's the key. It unlocks progress towards our goals, especially complex ones like learning.
Yeah. Progress might feel slow sometimes, maybe even invisible day to day. But if you keep showing up, keep putting in that consistent effort, success isn't just possible, it's pretty much inevitable.
It's all about the power packed into those small daily actions. So embrace the process, focus on the doing, not just the instant results.
Well said.
So as you finish listening today, here's something to think about. What's just one small action related to your English learning, or maybe another goal you have? Just one tiny thing that you could commit to doing consistently starting today.
Just one.
Just one. Now imagine the cumulative effect of doing that one small thing day after day for the next month. What about over the next year? Where could that take you? It's a pretty powerful thought, isn't it?
It really is. And with that thought, thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope exploring the power of consistency has given you some solid insights and practical tools you can use in your own life.